What's up, what's up, what's up, everybody? Hey, it's your boy Joaquin Loper, and as always with me, my sidekick, my side piece, my ride or die chick.
Yes.
My annoying comrade, Stacy Loper.
Hey, y'all.
Hey, we are blended and winning.
And so are you.
As you can tell, we're feeling good today, man. We're having a great Saturday. We've both been out doing some work, trying to put the grind in, and now we're coming to you all just to give you all a little encouragement.
Yes.
And today is like any other day. We're just doing God's work.
Absolutely. So, without further ado about today.
Really,
just jump right into it, you know.
It's a beautiful day outside.
It is so beautiful here. Now, we've had rain over the past, 5 days?
5 weeks, I feel like.
And yeah, I know, right? And it is a beautiful day outside. It's in the 60s here in Birmingham, and just truly a day to enjoy family, to enjoy being out and about, you know, and things of that nature. But we're coming to you because when we talk about family, we talk about marriage, and we talk about you and your spouse. I want you to, for about 2 minutes, take a moment to think about your marriage.
Yes, think hard. Whether
it is you taking a glimpse over at your spouse, or you take a few minutes to think about an interaction that you've had with your spouse over the past week, maybe the last month, or yesterday, as a matter of fact. I want you to just take 2 minutes to truly think about that interaction, or think about your spouse, think about your marriage. And I want you to ask yourself, in the midst of thinking about that, is my marriage healthy? Is it happy? Am I being fulfilled in my marriage? Am I fulfilling my spouse? Is my spouse being fulfilled? And the reason we want you to take a minute or two to do this is because in the hustle and bustle of your weeks, of your months, of your days, and the hours that consume your life and everything else that consumes it with children and careers, we don't take the time out to truly reflect on our marriage, to truly begin to ask those critical questions about, where is my marriage? Am I happy? Is my spouse happy? Are we being fulfilled? And you can't walk through your marriage not knowing the answer to those critical questions. And so all of this stemmed from our date night last night. So you want to give them a little backdrop as to why we're coming to them today to pose this reflection to them.
Well, last night we had our little date night, and we do things to keep our marriage healthy. I love still dating my wife. So there are times I would take her out, and I will actually allow her to walk in, get settled and everything, and I approach her as if I do not know her. So we actually met for the first time last night.
Right. That was pretty interesting.
Yeah, we met for the first time last night. But in doing that, we asked realistic questions. You know, we make it spunky. We make it to the point where she just busts out laughing, and I'm like, you're not supposed to act like that when you first meet someone. But that's the beauty of it. We ask those critical questions that you normally probably wouldn't ask your spouse,
first time meeting someone.
First time meeting someone. But in all of the game that we're playing, you answer them honestly. So you want to see if that person is going to stay there or not. And you know, she stayed.
No, he stayed. Okay,
she stayed. She stayed. But in the midst of that, the owner of the restaurant approached us. And it's funny how we met the owner. My wife used to do some part-time work at a clothing store. And she met the wife and the husband. And lo and behold, we ended up going to the restaurant that he owned, not knowing that they were having some issues. In the midst of him coming to speak to us on his way out the door at the end of the night, we told him, he asked us what kind of date were we on, and we explained to him, and he was so intrigued, he started asking more questions. Well, lo and behold, man, you know, their marriage is, you know, going through a low point. And And it was so ironic that their marriage pretty much was almost like a replica of the low point in our marriage.
Yeah.
And it was so refreshing. And I use the word refreshing because for once he actually met someone who actually could relate to him and his wife's situation. And for us to be so open and just transparent with where it is and how to come out of it, how we came out of it. Not necessarily how they're going to come out of theirs, but there are steps you can take. And it was just, man, it was everything for all of us, because it truly shows you that, man, marriage is not for the faint or the weak at heart.
It is not.
Yeah, or the weak-minded. Anyone can run away from anything, but who's going to stand in that marriage and grind, not just to be there, but to make your marriage the best marriage it can be, despite some of the things that may have happened.
Despite your brokenness.
And that's the biggest thing. Out of talking to him last night and reflecting on our marriage and many other marriages couples we've talked to, it's truly finding the beauty in the brokenness in the individuals. The marriage, nothing's wrong with marriage, but finding the brokenness in the individuals, rebuilding it, and making the marriage the best it can be for those two people.
Absolutely.
That is the beauty in it.
And that's what we learned in talking to him last night, is that, you know, man, me having to walk through my brokenness and knowing that it was my brokenness, not that the marriage was bad or anything. It was my brokenness that led to that lowest point in our marriage. Because of my past mistakes, my past decisions, that weren't necessarily mistakes after I did them over and over and over again. They were merely decisions that I made. And seeing how, if the tables were turned, she was mean 9 years ago. And how we began to look at her past and began to build on that, and how this cycle is continuing in her because she does not know how to walk out of it. She does not know how to find the beauty in her brokenness and allow that to be what helps build her as a woman, build him as a man,
her as a wife,
and everything. And it's like, I mean, I felt sorry for her because I know exactly how she feels. I know where she is because I've been there. I've been there, and my husband knew how he felt and what he was going through and all of the emotions he was dealing with. Joaquin could relate, and he was like, oh my God, I was there. I felt that way. I did those things. I made some bad decisions when we were in our lowest place in our marriage, and it was like, you know, how we could just so relate to them because that was us 9 years ago.
And you said, you know, her finding her, most time people don't even realize that they have beauty when they're broken. They don't even know how to find it. That's why it's so important for married people to surround yourself with stronger married couples, or even single individuals that are strong. They can, you know, not agree with your mistakes or agree with your decisions, but actually tell you you're wrong. Accountability partners are so important.
They're critical.
So important in a marriage. And that's what they do not have. And the worst thing you can do is, you know, well, I say run the family, or some family, or some friends.
Bring family and friends into the situation. Yeah,
that's one of the worst things you can do. But that's the comfort zone. We know people are going to agree with us on our decision, and you know, just because people agree with your decision doesn't mean it's the right decision.
Right. And it's just so easier to bounce back to that, you know, to go back to that person or that place that's familiar to you. And you was like, you know, I'm feeling frustrated. I'm this. Is it right? Is it wrong? You know, and then they just begin to agree with what you're feeling at that particular time. And sometimes you need somebody to be like, no, hold up, because you're not looking at the bigger picture here. You know, and some people, just as your friend and as something really close to you, they aren't able to do that for you. They're not able to tell you, no, you were wrong. Or, you know what, let's look at the bigger picture here. Let's look at what's really wrong. And especially someone like this young lady who understands that, you know what, I'm dealing with a lot of brokenness and I just need to get myself better, and wanting to leave the marriage. And sometimes leaving the marriage and trying to get yourself together,
It's going to make things worse.
It's only going to make you as an individual worse. Yeah. You know, and not looking at the bigger picture. And
to bring some, you know, some glue to why we posed the question at the beginning and why we're telling this story. Many times in marriages, asking those critical questions to your spouse can eliminate you being at this point of even talking about separation. One thing I always tell my wife is one of the best things we ever started. Some of the corniest things I thought they were corny, but they were some of the best things we ever started doing for our marriage to get us to another point, get us past that broken point and to higher levels, was asking those critical questions of every week we would ask each other when we sit down and, you know, how can I be a better husband? How can I be she would ask, how can I be a better wife? And there were no punches being held. You ask me that question, I'm finna tell you.
Yeah, and you gotta be ready for the answer, whether you like it or not.
Because at the end of the day, a lot of times, because of the hustle and bustle my wife was mentioning at the beginning, kids and everything, sometimes we lose perspective that our spouse has changed and she's evolved. And I'm speaking from my perspective, from a man's perspective. Sometimes we don't realize that our wives have evolved to another level, or their desires have grown in different areas, but we're still trying to love them on a level that we came into the marriage at.
Or the relationship.
Or the relationship, yeah. For the relationship, for that matter. Yeah. My wife, for the last now going on 4 years, my wife has not eaten beef, chickens, pork, anything like that. In the beginning, she loved it. She loved the way I would cook for her and everything. But at some point, she wanted to get her health better and go to another level in her healthy standards. So guess what? She changed some things. I didn't necessarily want her to, because I like eating chicken with her. But I had to start evolving with her, cooking differently for her. So in other words, I eat more salads now.
Yeah. He definitely eats more healthy, and he cooks his food a little bit more healthier than he would have cooked his food. But I mean, we say all that because there's a change that occurs throughout the marriage. You're not going to love your spouse today like you loved them 5 years ago. Yeah. You're just not, because you're constantly evolving. You're changing. Yeah.
If you really look at it, you're not even going to love your spouse the way you loved her yesterday. It's a different love every day. Love is work. Love is not, the way I told my wife I loved her 10 years ago is totally different than the way I tell her I love her today. If I had to rely on our marriage lasting on the love that I had for you 10 years ago, it wouldn't last.
Right.
Because I loved her in a whole different way.
For different reasons.
For different reasons. Now that love plus how I love her today is totally different. It's greater. The word love means something different to me now.
Yeah.
My love is an action word, so my actions toward her is different now.
Totally different. And it's about dying to self as well, and not thinking of yourself, it's thinking of the other person. And vice versa for me as well. It's a servitude when you talk about love. Servitude. It really is. And look, I was having a conversation with someone yesterday. That's where I got that word from, to be honest with you. Because it's like, dang, it made me think, and I got convicted because I'm like, I don't think I serve my husband the way my husband serves me. And that's just the reality of it. Like, for real. See, you ain't got to agree with me, dude. I mean, just come on. Jeez.
I saw my moment.
But anyway, jeez. I don't think I serve him the way he serves me. Because there's a different type of serving that my husband has for me. And in that, my kids serve me differently too.
Yes.
Because of the way they see their father serving me as a woman. And it's just different, y'all, when I tell you it's different. So we posed that question to you at the beginning of the video. Just take that minute or two and really think about your marriage.
Yeah.
Think about it. Take a look at your spouse. If they're sitting over on the sofa right now, or if they're sitting next to you in the car, or they're not there with you, but you take that moment to think about that last conversation you all had, that last dinner you had with each other, whether it was a month ago, a week ago, yesterday. Think about that.
Or even the last argument you had.
Yes, or the last argument. Is this healthy?
Yeah.
Is this happy? Are we being fulfilled?
Yeah.
Because I'm telling you, without knowing the answers to those questions, you stand a chance of saying one day, I just don't love you anymore.
Yeah.
When that's not truly how you feel. You just feel that right in that particular moment because of what's going on.
Yeah.
And you have not reflected on where that marriage is at other stages that you've been walking through over the past year, over the past month, over the past 5 months.
Yeah.
You haven't reflected on that. And too often we deny ourselves that, and it's just not fair.
Yeah. And with imposing that question, we're not pointing fingers. We're not saying, well, I'm not happy because of you. Or you're not happy because of me. No. When you pose that question, be ready to listen for the answer that they give you. Because, like I said, if you reflect on the last conversation or the last argument or the last, family moment or thing you did with that person, there are things that your spouse is saying to you. If you're on different wavelengths, and I'll talk about frequencies all the time. If you're on different wavelengths or frequencies, you're going to hear
it differently.
What they're saying differently than what they mean to be, what they meant in whatever they say to you.
Yeah. And so you have to say, okay, take me a step back. Let's rewind. Yeah. Did you mean this?
Yes.
And if not, they can then say, no, baby, I didn't mean that. This is what I've been trying to say. Yeah. Or this is what I am saying. Okay. Yeah. So. And
that's why, so even if you all can't communicate like that, that's why it's so important to have that mediator, that counselor, those people that don't know you, that can come into the group and say, okay, is this what you're trying to say? And that person say yes, and us as men be like, well, why you just didn't say that? Well, I've been trying to say it, but we don't speak the same dialogue. And if you're not speaking the same dialogue as your spouse, you're going to be on 2 different frequencies.
Yeah. And it's the same thing. We had this situation happen to us last week.
Did we?
Yes. You said something to me, and I looked at you a certain way. And I said, you know what? You made me feel. No, I didn't say you make me feel. It says I feel, because I never, ever, ever be like, you make me feel.
Yes,
no. Oh, no, I didn't. I said I feel.
I feel like sometimes you, what'd you say?
I feel like sometimes you insult my intelligence.
Insult her intelligence. That's what she said. Because
I mean, no, truly, sometimes you can feel that way, and I just want to be able to have that conversation with you in the moment.
And see, that's a great.
I know it was a great thing to bring up. That's why I brought it up.
You don't have to say that one.
Okay.
I don't want to insult your intelligence, but you don't have to say that. Nah, but that's a great point.
Yeah.
What we were going to have company, and I asked her to change or something. I asked you to change or something, and she looked at me and said, sometimes I really feel like, you insult my intelligence. And I'm good to, I got offended because I'm like, why would I insult your intelligence as your husband? I want to build you up. I want to praise you. I want to make you feel like you're everything. But I missed the point. That led to an argument.
It did.
That led to an argument.
Some heated fellowship up in here that day.
And I had to apologize.
I even spilled the macaroni and cheese.
I was mad. That macaroni and cheese was so good. I was good. But what she was saying was, that's how I was feeling. There's nothing wrong with your spouse telling you how they're feeling at the moment. Yep. Don't worry about how you're feeling. Respect the fact that they're feeling that way and understand why they're feeling that way.
Why? Exactly. It was just truly understanding the why I felt that way.
That's it. And I didn't get it at first. Because sometimes we're so caught in our feelings. We're like, why are you feeling that way? And I didn't mean it. It doesn't matter what you meant. It matters how they felt after what you said. And you can say the same exact thing next month, and they won't think anything about it because of where they are maybe at that moment. But at that moment, you need to understand why they feel the way they feel.
Right.
But those are the growing moments that show you that you've matured. And I can honestly say we're not mature enough to make each other happy in the beginning of our marriage, but that's the beauty in marriage.
Yeah.
That's the beauty in growing in yourself and in your spouse and together.
Yep, I was about saying growing together. That's the key. The beauty growing together.
And this is the thing, being honest with your spouse about where you come from. You all have to ask those critical questions before you get married. And if you don't, you have to ask after you get. It doesn't matter. As long as you get to the bottom of why this person feels this way or reacts this way towards certain things.
Yep.
Where the generational curses may occur, what has been broken down, what needs to be built up. And it was just something we wanted to come to you all and talk to today. Start asking your spouse those critical questions. Start having those uncomfortable conversations, but building off them. Take notes.
Yep.
Write it down what they're saying. Take it to heart. And this is the thing. Make an effort to change. It's about dying to yourself.
Yep. Daily.
Daily. I am not the same person. I want to be the best husband I can be every day that I wake up to her. As well as I want to be the best father, the best son, etc. But more importantly, since we're talking about marriage, I want to be the best husband. Yeah. And if that means me giving up something that I like for the moment to make her happy, then I'm going to do that. And vice versa.
Yeah.
If that means doing things that I don't like doing necessarily, I'm going to do that.
Yeah. Going
to orchestras and, you know, singing plays and stuff.
Musicals, baby. They're not singing plays. They're musicals.
See, I don't like them. But I go because of her. And I get laughs out of it because I'm like, they really singing this stuff? You like this? I
love it.
I sit and watch Friends. Because of her.
Well, I watch Harlem Nights and Purple Rain, so.
You're black.
That has.
I'm just playing. But yeah, she watches those because of me, and it's like a culture shock to her.
Whatever.
But you have to die to yourself to build up your marriage. And there's nothing wrong with dying to yourself. You're not losing who you are. You're growing into who you need to be for your marriage.
Yes. You're growing into the wife you need to be, the spouse, the husband you need to be. So
yeah, if I look right now, I would hate to be the same person I was 10 years ago.
I would hate him too. I would definitely hate to be the person I was 10 years ago because that just no.
Yeah, she sure would.
But
anyway, go ahead.
We love you all. We love you with the love of Christ, and just take a moment, reflect, see where you are, and begin to take those steps to grow to where you want to be, to the marriage you want.
Yes.
Because it can be everything that God ordained it to be. You just got to do a little work on you.
Yeah. And please feel free to reach out to us, inbox us if you need some of the examples of the questions that we're talking about. We have a list of them.
We do. That
can truly trigger the questions or the responses that can jumpstart your marriage to go to another level.
To go to another level, absolutely.
So please reach out to us, man. This is what we love to do. Because of where we were in our marriage and where we are now, we love doing just trusting God and following His word and just helping other marriages get to the fullest capability of what your marriage can be. Absolutely. And allowing God to lead you. So, like my wife said, we love you. We love you with the love of Christ. We are blended and winning.
And so are you.
My name is Joaquin Loper, and this is my beautiful, beautiful, beautiful Stacy Loper.
Wow. We love you all.
Bye, y'all. See you next time. You gonna hang it up?
I got you.